Good morning and welcome back to everyone. Bezrat Hashem B'Lineder. We want to today start a halachic series for women, and it's a sefer written by Rav Yitzchak Yosef Shlita. It's called Sefer OTZAR DINIM, and in this book, basically what Rav Yitzchak Yosef does over here is that he gives you the halacha on the top, and he has footnotes on the bottom. Since this halachic series is for women, we're going to just try to stick with the top halacha. It could be 5 minutes sometimes, 3 minutes sometimes a day, B'Lineder. But I was asked by a very special person to try to give a shiurim for women. And halachically, it's a very, very big problem to give shiurim to women, meaning if they're the only ones there, and if they're not modest, and so on and so forth. So, I did explain, I said, Be'ezrat Hashem B'Lineder, if I will have time in the day, I'll try to go ahead and integrate it into my day. Now that Baruch Hashem, I started the halachic series with Dalet Amos al Halacha, that's in the Rav Chaim, and also Even HaEzer, and now the halachic series for women, because a lot of times you see that, and this is the main complaint that women have today with men is, when the husband goes to learn and they come back, the woman, they don't know anything because the husbands don't bring anything back. Not sometimes because they can't or they don't know. No, they're learning. But maybe it's not really applicable. A lot of times it's Gemara. And a lot of times it's halachot that have nothing to do with women. Maybe just to speak to them you can, but it's not the same. So Bezrat Hashem, B'Lineder, let's try to see the halachot for women because, every single woman needs to know her obligation in this world also. So we'll try to keep it short. It's not going to be more complicated. It's not going to be very complex. I'll try to keep it short as possible. So this way, because I know women are busy, they have to work, they have to take care of the kids, the house. So just keep it down to the point. My other halachic series, if you look at it, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 45 minutes, it's long because in halacha, there's many details in any given halacha. But for the women, we can make an exception and just try to tell them what the halacha is so they should know what is obligated of them. So today, what we'll do is we're going to try to do a few halachot a day depending on the time. If I can get 3 halachot, I'll be happy. 4 halachot, 2 halachot, whatever it is. But every single day, we'll try to get in some halachot. So this way, women also need to know what's required of them. And don't be surprised if you will see that all this time you've been doing something else completely different. And that's okay, only because you didn't know the halachot. So today, we're going to see what the halacha requires of the woman. So Rav Yitzchak Yosef Shlita brings down over here and he says in Perik Aleph, Mihilchot Haskamat HaBoker U'Nitzei Yadayim. This chapter is going to be speaking about when a woman wakes up in the morning and the washing of her hands. How does she wash her hands in the morning? Now, Rabotai, just to make it very simple, these women halachot, these are halachot for women, a lot of them do apply to men. So I'm not going to sit here and say men, woman. I'm just going to teach this halachot the way it is. When I'm speaking it applies to women. Whether it applies to men, you're going to have to go ahead and do your own research because I do not want to intermingle here anything else. Just want to keep it simple and short for every single woman. She needs to know, as a Bat Yisrael, she needs to know what's required of her. So, Rav Yitzchak Yosef Shlita brings down and he says like this: Ka'asher ha'isha mit'oreret me'ashena b'boker, when a woman wakes up from her sleep in the morning, yesh la l'hamtin kim'ah, she has to wait a little bit. V'lo la'amod b'pitomit, she shouldn't get up suddenly. Ki hadavar mazik libiriyut, because waking up suddenly in the morning, that thing can damage a person's health. Ve'amnam, however, he says, Hasakana hi davka be'omedet al ragleha. This whole danger of a woman getting up in the morning, that is specifically when she gets up on her feet. Miyad, immediately. Ava be'koma mimitata ulitlabesh v'chedome ve'en omedet al ragleha miyad eila nish'eret yoshevet b'mitata and bekach sakana. But however, when a woman wakes up suddenly from her bed to get dressed or similar things like that, but she does not get on her feet, but rather she still sits on her bed and this you have no sakana. So what the Shulchan Aruch is telling us over here, that when a woman gets up in the morning, right, a person is sleeping, she shouldn't jump out right out of bed like something happened, because that can go ahead and damage a woman's health. Now, just to give you a small example, this also applies to men. That's, I don't want to go back and forth. We're just going to stick with the woman. So that's what the Rav Yitzchak tells us, that if a woman is sleeping and she suddenly got up, but as long as she's on her bed, there's no danger to her life, there's no danger to her health. But sometimes you have it that the children screamed and the mother, she gets up and she runs. That should not be done, because that is very dangerous for one's health. Because remember, we need to take care of our children, and not chas v'shalom, by taking care of them, harming our health, because they still need us. Halacha number 2. Miyad kishiteor mishinata ta'id al atzma imunata beborei yitbarach. Immediately when a woman wakes up from her sleep, she should testify on herself her faith in the Creator, may He be blessed, meaning in Hashem. So how is a woman going to go ahead and testify on the imunah, the faith that she has in Hashem? V'tomar, he says, she should say like this: Moda ani lefanecha. She said, Moda ani lefanecha, melech chai v'kayam, shehechazarte bin shmati, bechemla, rabba imunotecha. That she's going to go ahead and she's going to testify on her imunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'gam targil et habat lomar moda ani. And also she has to accustom her daughter to also start saying moda ani in the morning. Shebikivish shezo hi hoda'a l'Hashem yitbarach shehichzir et haneshama. Since this is a thank you to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, may He be blessed, that He returned her neshama. That's why a woman also has to go ahead and she has to say thank you for returning her soul back to her. Velomar moda ani. That's why a woman is obligated to say moda ani. V'tafsik ben tevat bechemla lerabba imunotech. But you do need to make a pause between the words of chemla and to rabba imunotech. That means when a woman wakes up in the morning, the reason why she has to say moda ani is because she's also included in the rule where Hashem returned her soul back. So therefore she has an obligation to thank Him for that. So when a woman is going to say moda ani lefanecha melech chai v'kayam shehechazarte bin nishmati bechemla, Rav Yitzchak Yosef says stop right over here. When you get to the word bechemla, stop, pause a little bit, and only then say rabba imunotecha. So one more time. Moda ani lefanecha melech chai v'kayam shehechazarte bin nishmati bechemla rabba imunotecha. You saw that pause that I did between bechemla and rabba imunotecha. You want to try to go ahead and pause a little bit over there. Halacha Gimel, the Rav Yitzchak Yosef continues and he says, Av kodem hanitila yesh lomar moda ani. A woman, even before washing her hands, is allowed to go ahead and say this praise to Hashem of moda ani. V'gam im yesh lichluch becheder, even if you have dirt. I know sometimes the woman changes the diaper and she just throws it by her bedside, whatever it might be. Even if you have dirt in the room, it's impossible for you to say words of Torah there because you have filth there. Even in such a scenario, Tomar nusach moda ani, in such a scenario, she's allowed to go ahead and say the text of moda ani. Rabotai, the reason why, or better yet, ladies, right? The reason why a woman is allowed to go ahead and say moda ani when she wakes up in the morning, and even though the room is filthy, it has filth there, whatever it might be, the reason why is because if you pay close attention, in the moda ani praise, you do not have over there Hashem's name. Right? Moda ani l'fanecha melech chai v'kayam shehechazarte bin nishmati bechemla rabba imunotecha. There's no Hashem there. Since there's no Hashem there, we're going to tell you it's not a problem for you to go ahead and mention the moda ani prayer. Okay, we will conclude with this. Be'ezrat Hashem b'leneder. Tomorrow we are going to continue regarding a child. What about a child that knows how to speak? Do they have an obligation to also say moda ani b'leneder?